A specific budget bill. The unions have already conceded the total amount of money that the governor requested in the so-called budget repair bill. And so from the point of view of money and budget, that's not an issue, and the only thing that's left is the right to bargain, which you know, is what is being taken away here. And not just in sort of, well, you can't do this, you can't do that, but it's done in a subtle way so that the very existence of the unions is at stake, because their ability to collect dues and maintain themselves is also basically compromised in the legislation that's proposed.
More fallout from the crisis in Libya. The head of a prestigious British university steps down for accepting millions in cash donations from the Gaddafis. And prayers and protests in Oman. Crowds call for political reform and better pay.
Welcome back. First, starting in Japan as well as into the Korean Peninsula. We're looking at a fairly nice day on Saturday. That's all going to change, though, as we go into the next couple of days. So we got some weather coming in from China. As you can see here, we're looking at partly cloudy to mostly sunny conditions from most of the region on Saturday. But that, like I said, is going to change. Take a look what's happening as we come with that rain shower activity out of the southwest. That's going to be a big problem, bringing some very heavy rain showers, not only for Japan, but of course across most of China as we go from Saturday as well as into Sunday. Notice how that green area starts to really envelop most of China. We are looking at rainy conditions for Shanghai at 10 degrees there. Hong Kong, partly cloudy conditions, about 23 degrees, but down to the south, we're looking at 31 for Manila with some rain showers in their forecast. Now, rain showers are going to be a big problem across the northern part of Australia as well. Right here, we're going to be seeing in the Northern Territory some flood warnings in effect. That's going to start to move towards Queensland over the next day or so. Brisbane, about 27 degrees. You're going to be warm, but we have a frontal boundary right here. You can see just to the south, Sydney at 21, as well as Melbourne at 23 degrees. And for Christchurch, we do want to take a look at their forecast over the next day. We're looking at some improving conditions for them. We are going to see some rain showers on Sunday. By the time we get to Monday, that should all be out of their forecast for them.
What Gaddafi has done, he dismantled or destroyed the system in the country.
As chaos and violence sweep across Libya.
They're living through fear, they're living through a nightmare.
They're using ammunition, live ammunition.
Al Jazeera hears from those who have lived in fear of Gaddafi's regime.
We don't want him to leave. We want to arrest him. 42 years is too much.
Libya, a state of terror. At this time on Al Jazeera.
Welcome back. The top stories in Al Jazeera. In Libya, Colonel Gaddafi's troops have attacked areas in and around the opposition-held city of Azawiyah, just west of Tripoli. Reports say at least 30 people have died, but the area remains under rebel control. Protesters in Egypt have clashed with security forces in Alexandria after they tried to storm a state security building. Witnesses say police opened fire at the protesters, resulting in several injuries. The U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has condemned the killing of at least 6 female protesters in Côte d'Ivoire. She says incumbent President Laurent Gbagbo has shown a total disregard for human life. The fighting in Libya has caused a refugee crisis on a mass scale. Some 180,000 foreign workers have streamed across Libya's borders. The UN says more than 90,000 have fled to Tunisia, and some 80,000 have crossed into Egypt. Another 2,500 have crossed at the Niger border. But while agencies are warning of a growing crisis for these refugees, thousands more are still stuck inside Libya. Bernard Smith reports.
Thousands of Bangladeshis are the latest in a stream of refugees to make it across the border from Libya into Tunisia. Waiting for them, a tent camp that can house up to 20,000 people. It's already full. But aid from Europe and the United States is arriving, and the process of moving these people home is picking up. Britain, France and the US are providing aircraft to help the evacuation. The UN says that the number of refugees crossing into Tunisia has actually dropped significantly because the border there is now manned by heavily armed pro-Gaddafi forces. So almost all of Libya's neighbours could end up dealing with fleeing workers. Some have now fled through Algeria, further down Libya's western frontier. And up to 100,000 people may try to cross into Niger in the coming months. That's according to the UN. At Egypt's frontier with Libya, hundreds of African refugees are stranded in a border no man's land. Some have been there for days. Here, the Egyptian authorities have tightened security, fearing that mercenaries hired by Gaddafi may try to flee to Egypt. Bernard Smith, Al Jazeera.
Organisations with links to the Gaddafi regime have come under increasingly under the spotlight. In the United Kingdom, the head of the London School of Economics has resigned after disclosures the university accepted multi-million-dollar donations. Students, though, have come to his defence, as Paul Brennan reports.
The London School of Economics counts some of the world's top political and business leaders among its alumni. But it's the donations of one particular former student, Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, which have shaken this university all the way to the top. Sir Howard Davis, the LSE director, quit on Thursday, accepting blame for the school's close links to the Libyan regime.
I decided that I would not stay on because the reputation of the school is my responsibility, and it has, as you rightly say, been damaged, and I think I need to take the responsibility for that.
The LSE Council has commissioned the former Lord Chief Justice, Lord Wolfe, to look into the financial dealings with Libya, including a $3.6 million contract to train Libyan officials in leadership skills, a $2.4 million donation from Saif Gaddafi's charitable foundation, and $37,000 from the same foundation for academics to travel to Libya. Sir Howard remains popular among LSE students, most of whom blame his demise on circumstance rather than judgment.
No one condones what Gaddafi's doing. It's terrible, it's disgusting, and we'd be stupid to accept any type of money today. But that money that they gave 5 years ago was to help African development and research in Africa, and it was done through legal channels. There was nothing underhand so far that we know about. So I just think, hindsight is a wonderful thing, as you say, and it's all just been blown out of proportion, to be honest.
He's extremely unlucky because, it just so happens that now everyone's seeing Gaddafi under a bad eye because of what's happening. He has to take the blame for it. It seems kind of unfair.
I think it's more a publicity issue than an issue of, say, the stewardship of the university.
One student leader says other academics, other universities are equally culpable.
Students are actually questioning what's happening at the university, where they're getting their money from, but also, even at the LSE, there are other people who are in the upper echelons of this university who still need to sort of come to terms publicly with what they've done in the past.
Few here believe the LSE is alone among British academic institutions in having accepted past legitimate donations from now deeply questionable sources. And Howard Davis's resignation still leaves many questions unanswered. Paul Brennan, Al Jazeera at the London School of Economics.